that she's done in the educational sector as well. And of course, we saw that final question there about the reintroduction of history in schools, and her response basically talking about how there has to be a weighing of the risks and benefits in what the Senate President called teamship, which will determine whether it should be made compulsory in schools. Making his way into the Senate chambers at this moment, he is the last ministerial nominee to be screened today. In fact, in the entire process, we're talking about 48 men and women who have been sent for ministerial screening. Mr. Festus Keyamo taking a bow right now, former Minister of State for Labor and Employment, and at some point in his career, was actually Minister of State for the Niger Delta at the time when the Senate President, who you're looking at right now, was the Minister of the Niger Delta. So we're seeing that. Well, that happened just for a month before he was made Minister of State for Niger Delta. And of course, a lot of conversations around his nomination, and we'll be hearing those details shortly.
The last nominee on the list today is a distinguished son of the Niger Delta and a senior advocate of Nigeria, an advocate for justice, and a man who believes in excellence. My dear brother, SN Festus Keyamo, your CV is already with us, and most of us know you. So if there are things you would like to add that are not here, you use the next few minutes to say so. Otherwise, just summarize your life in 1 or 2 minutes so that you can answer questions from the distinguished senators. You are welcome.
Thank you, sir. The President of the Senate, here seated as chair of the Committee of the whole Senate, His Excellency, distinguished Obot Akpabio, Commander of the Order of the Niger, and once my boss, always my boss, at the Ministry of the Niger Delta Affairs. So, sir, my boss, I also present myself to you today to hear your testimonial about me as your mentee in the Ministry of the Niger Delta Affairs, where you were a boss. We enjoyed a convivial relationship when we were both at the Ministry of the Niger Delta Affairs. The Deputy Senate President, all the principal officers of this most revered Senate, and in particular, I pay special recognition to my 3 senators from Delta states. Distinguished Senator Ede Dafinone, Distinguished Senator Joel Onowapo Thomas, and Distinguished Senator Ned Nwoko, who are very, very personal friends to me for so many years, sir. My name is Festus Egwarewa Adeniyi Keyamo. Paternally, I'm from Delta State, in particular, Uwe local government area of Delta State. And maternally, I'm from Ogun State, in particular, Yewa South local government of Ogun State, Ilaro. And I'm also a constituent of distinguished Senator Solomon Adeola Olamilekon, who is popularly known as Yayi. He's my senator from Ogun West. In fact, he knows I'm from the royal home there, my mom, where they call Ojo Orono in Ilaro. And we enjoy a very, very convivial relationship. I also see so many senators here who are my mentors, my political leaders, who have personal friends over the years, comrades too. I see 3, 4, 5 comrades here who we have enjoyed very excellent relations over the years. I greet all of you, sir. My appearance here today, sir, can only be by the grace of God, sir. and by the special benevolence, and I repeat, special benevolence of our President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And I want to say a special thank you to him for giving me this rare opportunity to serve. In fact, why I say I give all the glory and adoration to God is that on Friday when my name was announced on this floor, I was already packed, my bags and baggies were already packed with that of my family. We're going on a short vacation. I had given up any hope to be here when all of a sudden they said my name had been announced from Lagos. So I started rushing back and we had to cancel all our trips to go on vacation. So I give God all the glory and all the adoration, sir. Briefly, sir, I am a member of the INABA, sir. I'm a senior advocate of Nigeria. I practiced law for about 30 years, sir. And I'm also a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Arbitration in the United Kingdom. And so I also practice international arbitration, sir. I was called to the Nigerian bar about 30 years ago, sir. And over this period, sir, I have used the instrumentality of the law in many situations to advance the cause of democracy, sir, and the respect for the rule of law. That has been the story of my life. In fact, coincidentally, sir, when our present president was in exile, fighting for the return of democracy in Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we were the young lawyers in Nigeria here who were empaneled by my late boss then, the late Chief Ganifa, who were coordinating the release of NADECO leaders who were detained across the country at that time. Many of them. So that was the role we were playing while our president was abroad at that time on the platform of NADECO, also fighting for the return of democracy to Nigeria. So coincidentally, our paths crossed again when I joined the Action Congress of Nigeria in Delta State, just at the cusp of forming the All Progressives Congress at that time. And of course, we were the foundation members of the APC from the ACN in Delta State. Sir, my struggle and battle for the respect for the rule of law also led me at some point, sir, to fight for the rights of the Senate. And I'm sure you all know that, sir, that over the years I felt that because we had left military rule, that it was important for the military to subject itself to this democratic institution. This is the star democratic institution that we have. When the military they take over power, they suspend their first port of call is in parliament, they suspend parliament. So because this is the bastion of democracy. So I felt that if I looked at all the provisions of the law and I felt the military had to bow to this Senate, had to subject itself to the authority of the Senate. And so on my own, I wrote then to the Senate President, Senator David Mark, I wrote to the then Attorney General Andwaka, I wrote to all of them that, look, this procedure is not right. The military must come here for confirmation before they assume, their duties, the service chiefs. So I went to court on my own volition. And I won the case for this Senate, for the National Assembly, to have a voice in the confirmation of service chiefs. And that's the powers you are enjoying today. And that is the case of Keyamo against the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which I won, and that was how I fought for the powers of the Senate. I've also served as a private prosecutor for the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission for so many years, before I was appointed a minister in 2019. And in that role, I served the country in prosecuting, economic and financial crimes, politically exposed persons. And also, as a private lawyer, I represented clients across the country, both the rich and the poor. I represented so many of them. In the course of that, I won so many of the cases. I lost so many of the cases, like all lawyers do. And of course, many of them are still pending in court. This passion for the promotion of rule of law and human rights led me to receive the global award called the Global Human Rights Award by the United States Global Leadership Council in Washington in 2017. I was conferred with this global award. And in 2019, sir, I appeared before this same revered Senate. I appeared here as a ministerial nominee. And magnanimously, sir, you confirmed my nomination at that time as a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I was first at the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs, where I served with my boss here, Senator Gospel Fabio, and later I was also at the Ministry of Labor and Employment, where I was oversighted by one of the best senators I've ever met in my life, my friend, Senator Godiya Akwashike. Luckily, he's back here today, and he was my chairman of my committee at that time, and we enjoyed very excellent relationship. There were one or two initial disagreements with them, but later, Senator Akwashike and a number of the members became my very, very personal friends. In fact, we were so close that he joked at a point that he would like to oversight me anywhere I am again because of the closeness that we enjoy. And thank God he's here today, seated. One of my best allies, best senators I've worked with, Senator Godiya Akwashike. So I respectfully present myself, sir, respectfully, for screening and magnanimous confirmation as a senator, or as a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you, sir.
I want to recognize the use of the word magnanimous confirmation after the screening. So, distinguished senior advocate of Nigeria, your brief resume is known to all, and the few cases you have cited also show your sagacity in the legal profession. Distinguished Senator Issa Jibril.
Your Excellency, this.
No. When once a point of order is raised, the presiding officer must listen to the point of order. Order what?
My order is anchored on Section 88 of the Constitution, 1999, as amended. Can I take the leave of the Mr. President to read out, sir? Thank you, Mr. President of the Senate. My name is Darlington Nwokocha. I speak for the entire Nigeria, but Abia Central in particular. Mr. President, I want to read Section 88, 1, A and B, but I'll anchor my position on B. Let me start from 1. Subject to the provision of this Constitution, each House of the National Assembly shall have power by a resolution published in its journal or in the official gazette of the government of the Federation to direct or cause to be directed investigation into any matter or thing with respect to which it has power to make laws. B, the conduct of the affairs of any person, authority, ministry, or government department charged or intended to be charged with the duty of or responsibility for executing or administering laws enacted by National Assembly and disbursing or administering monies appropriated to be appropriated by the National Assembly. Mr. President of the Senate, I'm aware that this National Assembly and this arm, the Senate, has 3 major mandates. 1, lawmaking. Secondly, oversight. And thirdly, representation. And I know quite well that what we are doing today is a continuation of what we did yesterday. And I'm happy to have the nominee here, present. And he has said wonderful things, and which of them he said that he used instrumentality of law, which he is part and parcel of, to advance the cause of justice. And I know quite well as well that this House, or this Senate, usually use the instrumentality of legislature to advance the cause of fairness. Mr. President of the Senate, I want to bring to the notice, because I've been a two-time House of Assembly member, two-time House of Rep member, and today a senator. And I was in the 8th Assembly of the House of Representatives, and the 9th Assembly, and today I am here. And I know that our rule book does not in any way exclude the continuation of free-will drive of one section to the other. Having said that, Mr. Senate President, I want to bring to the notice of this House that sometime in 2020, that an issue came up. And that issue was the Public Works Program. We all welcomed it with open hands, because this is something that will help our people. Today we are talking about paying 8,000 to some people to make sure that it will alleviate poverty. Then it was the amount of 20,000 to 1,000 persons across the 774 local governments, which my local government is part of it. And I'm sure your local government is part of it. And today, 1,000 per each local government minimum, 20,000 naira, has a great multiplier effect that will make our people cushion so many effects that would have led our people into a very greater height. But what really happened? At a point, we wanted to carry out our responsibility, because if some people can use the instrumentality of law, which they find themselves within the confines of their own authority, to advance for all their justices, why can't we use the instrumentality of the legislature to support our people and help the populace, which we represent? Then, at that point, we invited the nominee, because this thing has been a subject of controversy and public debate, which I don't know. We wanted to know and give him fair hearing. Please tell us, because it's now within our own confines authority to know what happened to our constituents. Say, please come and tell us what really happened. What is the structure? What are the indices you are using to carry out these things? Because our people will hold us responsible and accountable. And when he was invited, what we are talking about is a 52 billion naira appropriation, and the right of appropriation resides on the legislature. That is our right. And I know quite well that the right of oversight resides on us, because we have to hold you accountable for whatever thing we appropriate to you. It is our right. And when he was invited, he expressly told us, to the public, that we want to hijack his role, that we want to blackmail us, that we are corrupt, that we want to hijack his role. And I know that he midwifed the process. Nobody's against that. He midwifed the process, and this falls within his own area of operation as the junior minister for labor and employment. Highly welcomed. And not only that, he went as far as in the public line to say that when he was asked, which indices did you use to gain this? He said, in quote, they are not from the moon. That was too arrogant to answer Nigerians that way. Because we're talking about what we support and help our people. That is why we are here. Anything outside that, I'll walk away from this chamber. My interest, your interest, and the interest of everybody is our people. That is why we are here. Not whatever thing any person is saying. And today, we need to find out, Mr. Senate President. Nobody is stopping him from being cleared. No. And I'm happy the way the president has sent so many people, great people here. We have questioned them, passed through the screening, wonderful people, and we're ready. As much as they are ready to work with the system, we are ready to clear them. But not on the grounds of putting something under the table, not granting some people fair hearing, because I would like us to grant him fair hearing since he has been running away from it, for Nigerians to know what really happened. Because I wouldn't like any person to be holding that, because this thing has been subject of debate here and there. What happened to the 52 billion? What happened to the... But he is here, and it's our responsibility to find out. So, Mr. President of the Senate, I'm of the opinion so strongly that he has to tell us what really happened, but not here. We have to keep it down a little bit. We're not saying that we're not going to clear him. This is a house that can reconvert at any point. You can even call for an emergency and we'll reconvert. Because we would not like what happened at the last administration, where some people felt that the president was in charge and so many other things were happening out there. We won't take it this time around. We want a situation, we hold you responsible from the onset. Since Mr. President has started showing us the right hand, we must follow along that side to make sure that we work with him in that right hand as well. Therefore, Mr. President of the Senate, I'm of the opinion that we hold this down a little bit, and I move a motion that we suspend forthwith this nomination and wait until when this is left, so that he can freely work in our environment and tell Nigerians, I have perfectly done well because this record has been put straight. That is my submission, Mr. Senate President. I rest my case.
Distinguished colleagues, the point of order raised by Senator Darlington Nwokocha is noted, but on the motion, there is no seconder. Okay, but let's find out first. Senator, there's a motion on the ground. If you want, you can second it and amend it, whatever. So if there is no seconder, Leader of the Senate, the point of order had been noted. Now he also proceeded to move a motion, which has not been seconded. So, okay, Senator Abaribe, let me hear you.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to second the motion, very ably moved by Senator Darlington Nwokocha, that in view of Section 88B of the 1B of the Constitution, which mandates the National Assembly to go ahead and look into the conduct of affairs of any person, authority, or ministry. And where such a person refuses and deliberately stays away from letting the National Assembly do its work, and in view of the fact that this nominee rejected the summons of both the House of Representatives and the Senate, that I do support that this nominee should be stepped down pending when he decides that the National Assembly has that right to inquire into the workings of a minister and his ministry. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded. Those who are in support of the motion that the screening of the nominee be stepped down until further inquiries, say aye. Aye. Those who are against, say nay. Distinguished colleagues, don't worry. Distinguished colleagues, distinguished colleagues, distinguished colleagues, speak from there, please. Distinguished colleagues, I will put the question again.
Given the chance.
Distinguished colleagues, distinguished colleagues, point of order. Mr. President, point of order. Mr. President, point of order. Somebody is calling us here in the room. Distinguished colleagues, distinguished colleagues, I will put the question again.
Order, please. Distinguished senators, sit down, please. Okay. You can only be. Order, please. Distinguished senator, take your
President of the Senate is on his feet. Refer to Order 62 of our rules, and I'll read for those who may not have gone through. Whenever the President of the Senate or the Chairman rises during a debate, any senator then speaking or offering to speak shall immediately sit down, and the Senate or the committee shall be silent so that the President of the Senate or the Chairman may be heard without any interruption. I am of the view that we are not the people that nominated the nominees that we have been screening from the President. A lot of indices must have been taken into consideration. Under a rowdy situation, we cannot arrive at anything. But I've noticed that from the even here, some of you are prepared to stretch the rule to even asking for division. But we will not go without that. Leader of the Senate, lead us right.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I'm very, very distinguished senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. May I, at this time, move that we dissolve into an executive session to be able to iron out some issues. But before that, I guess my first motion should have been based on Order 8(3) of our rules to move for an extension of time for this Senate to be able to sit beyond 2 p.m. This should have happened some 13 minutes ago, but for what was going on. So, sir, please take it that my first motion right now is a motion for extension of time based on Order 8(3) of our rules to enable us clear the other items on the other paper. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to second the motion that will extend our sitting time to beyond 2 o'clock to enable us to continue today's proceeding. As well, second. And okay.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion duly has been moved and seconded by the minority leader that this August Assembly do extend the sitting time beyond 2 p.m. Those who are in support of that motion say aye. Aye. Those who are against say nay. The ayes have it. Our sitting period is extended beyond 2 p.m. Minority leader. The Senate leader. Is this your confusion?
Thank you, Mr. President. Very distinguished colleagues. I move that we resolve into an executive session to enable us a closed session, otherwise also known as executive session, to help us iron out some issues. Thank you.
I rise to second the motion that we resolve into a closed session to discuss a very important issue in regards to the screening. I so second, Mr. President.
Distinguished colleagues, a motion has been moved and seconded that this Senate do resolve into a closed session to iron out some issues of national concern. Those who are in support of this closed session as moved say aye. Those who are against say nay. The ayes have it. the Senate will now revert to a closed session. The press will leave us, and the nominee will leave us for a while we discuss.
And with that, the Senate goes into a closed session. The media have been asked to leave the chambers. Quite a rowdy session going on there. Of course, we heard, the motion to suspend the nomination of Mr. Festus Keyamo until the matter is cleared. I remember this is a public works activity that happened in 2020, a public works program. 1,000 naira was appropriated to 1,000 Nigerians in every local government area in the country. We heard there said Mr. Festus Keyamo was invited to explain what happened in terms of the criteria for selecting the beneficiaries of the disbursement of the 52 billion naira. And then, of course, we're seeing that discussion causing a rowdy session. Not sure where it's supposed to fall into, and we don't know how long this executive session is supposed to last for, but we will be looking out to see when they will return, and we'll be back then. We now return you to Lagos for regular programming. For the meantime, I am Kayla Magwa.